It happened on one of those early November nights in Cedar Heights, Colorado, the kind when the wind slips under your jacket no matter how tight you hold it, and the whole town feels like it's holding its breath. I wasn't supposed to be there. Honestly, I was just a man trying to stop thinking long enough to sleep. But life has this strange way of placing you exactly where you need to be, even if you don't know it yet. My name is Grant Mercer, and at the time, most people knew me as the guy who disappeared from the tech world after a scandal I didn't even cause. Headlines tore into me like wolves, partners bailed, and overnight, I went from visionary founder to arrogant fraud without anyone caring what the truth really was. So yeah, I walked alone a lot. Silence was easier than people. That night, I was cutting through the town's abandoned train station, the place nobody uses anymore except a few teenagers and, well, folks who don't have anywhere else to go. I just wanted to clear my head, maybe outrun some ghosts, but then I saw her. A woman. Sitting on a cracked bench. A beat-up duffel bag at her feet. 2 kids huddled close on either side. And in her hands, a single styrofoam takeout box, opened like it was some rare treasure. I slowed down. Because what she did next, it didn't match the cold, bitter world I thought I knew. She split the small meal into 3 uneven pieces, bigger ones for the kids, a tiny sliver for herself. Except she didn't eat hers. She pretended to. Every time her son looked away, she nudged a few bites toward him. And he, with those big sleepy eyes, pushed them back like a gentleman half his age. "Mom, you said you'd eat tonight," the girl whispered. The woman forced a smile. "I will, baby. After you 2 are full." It hit harder than it should have. Maybe because 5 years earlier, I had a daughter too, and I used to tell the same half-truths to get her to finish dinner. Maybe because, for the first time in a long time, I wasn't looking at a headline, or a rumor, or a judgment. I was looking at love. Raw. Undressed. Honest. She was exhausted, pale, and wearing a coat that looked like it shouldn't have survived another winter, but she carried herself with this quiet strength I recognized instantly. Strength people only get when they've been stepped on, dismissed, overlooked. And that was before I learned just how deep her story went. Act I, a hook that cuts deep. The woman's name was Mara Quinn. She used to be one of the best bakers in the entire county. Folks said her apple ginger pie could make grown men cry. She worked at a cozy diner on Oak Street until it went bankrupt. The owner fled, staff never got paid, and Mara was left holding a stack of broken promises. Her husband? A mechanic with a temper he never learned to control. The night he smashed the kitchen cabinets because dinner was a minute too cold was the night she packed up the kids and ran, no money, no plan, just instinct. For months they bounced between motels, shelters, friends' couches. Until all those places quietly closed on her. People are generous until generosity gets inconvenient. She tried getting jobs, grocery stores, school cafeterias, community kitchens, but every time she filled out her address on an application and wrote, "none," the interview was suddenly full. And somewhere along the way, word spread that she was unreliable, unstable, too distracted with her kids to commit. People talk. People judge. People assume. And her reputation fell apart before she ever had the chance to defend herself. You ever watch someone being crushed by the weight of other people's stories about them? You ever see how a person shrinks, little by little, until they think they deserve it? That's who I saw on that cold bench. And at that moment, I didn't care that I'd sworn off caring. I didn't care that the world was tired of my name. Something in me just moved. Act 2, the climb, the obstacles, the turning point. The next morning, I tracked her down again at the train station. She was brushing her kids' hair with this tiny plastic comb that looked older than they were. Both kids were trying their best not to shiver. And she kept glancing around like she was expecting someone to yell at them for staying too long. So I approached gently. "Ma'am," I said, "I left this by mistake yesterday." I held out a bag, inside were warm sandwiches, fruit, and a thermos of cocoa. She looked at the bag, then at me, suspicion sharp in her eyes. "We don't take handouts," she said quietly. Her voice wasn't rude, just tired. Wounded. Proud. I figured, I nodded, so it's not a handout. It's, returning something. Her daughter squinted at me like she knew I was full of it, but her son grabbed the thermos like it was Christmas morning. And, I added, I know a place hiring. Actual steady pay. They just need someone who knows their way around a kitchen. For a split second, her face changed. Hope tried to show up, but doubt crushed it fast. "What's the catch?" she asked. "No catch," I answered, "only a test. Cook something honest." She hesitated, looking at her kids, then back at me. "If I do this, can they come?" I nodded. "They can. And they'll have somewhere warm while you work." That was the moment she said yes. The test. The kitchen wasn't fancy, just an unused commercial space I'd bought months earlier, thinking I'd start something new, then giving up when the legal mess swallowed my energy. But it was clean, warm, stocked, and ready. The other cooks I'd admire immediately, the oversized coat, the shaky hands, the kids coloring quietly in the corner. Some whispered. Some smirked. One guy, Nate, muttered loud enough for everyone to hear. "Man, Grant's really scraping the bottom of the barrel now, huh?" I shot him a look sharp enough to cut steel, but Mara beat me to speaking. She lifted her chin slightly. "You don't have to like me," she said, "just don't get in my way." Nate's eyebrows shot up. "All right, firecracker." She ignored him. And then she cooked. Not fast. Not flashy. But deliberate, steady, thoughtful. She made a cinnamon-roasted pumpkin soup, one of those recipes passed down through families who don't write things down because they don't need to. And as the scent filled the kitchen, even the loudmouths went quiet. When I tasted it, I swear a memory hit me so hard I almost lost my footing. A memory of Sunday afternoons in my mother's kitchen, before she got sick, before everything fractured. Mara watched me as I tasted it, bracing herself like she expected me to laugh, or criticize, or toss it aside like everyone else had done to her circumstances. Instead, I took another spoonful. Then another. No notes. No corrections. Just, truth. "Be here tomorrow at 7, I said, "you're hired." Her eyes filled. She looked away quickly so her kids wouldn't see. Life rises. Then cracks. For weeks, things finally went right. Mara worked harder than anyone I'd ever seen. She made dishes the team couldn't figure out even after watching her. She stayed late, came early, taught the younger cooks tricks they'd never learned from a recipe book. Some days she looked alive for the first time in years. But Cedar Heights talks. And when people talk, trouble follows. One afternoon, 2 women from Child Protective Services walked in. Someone had reported that Mara was endangering her kids by letting them live in an unsafe environment. They questioned her in my office. Asked where she slept. How long she'd been at the station. Why the kids weren't enrolled in school yet. They didn't care how well she worked. They didn't care she was rebuilding. They didn't care about progress. They cared about paperwork. Boxes checked. Rules followed. They said there'd be a hearing. They said they might take the children. I had seen Mara tired. I had seen her worried. But I had never seen her break. She walked out of my office with a face that was barely holding itself together. She whispered, "Maybe they're right, maybe I don't deserve them." And that was the moment something snapped in me. Not anger. Something deeper. Something protective. Something I hadn't felt since the day I lost my daughter. Act 3, the win, the explosion, the controversial ending. 2 days later, we stood in front of a judge in a cold, echoing courtroom. Mara looked like she was made of glass, one wrong word and she'd shatter. When the judge asked if anyone could speak on her behalf, I stepped forward. "My name is Grant Mercer," I said, "and I live with Ms. Quinn and her children." The room froze. CPS turned. Mara turned. Even I felt my stomach drop because, technically, it wasn't true. "We've been together for months," I continued. "I've provided stable housing, medical care, and schooling arrangements. And I've personally witnessed her provide a home full of love and structure." Mara stared at me like I'd lost my mind. And maybe I had. But I wasn't about to let bureaucracy destroy this woman who'd fought harder than anyone I knew. The judge raised a brow. "And your relationship to Ms. Quinn?" I took a breath. "She's my fiancée." A gasp rippled through the courtroom. Mara's mouth fell open, shock, disbelief, then something like, trust. The judge leaned back. "Is that accurate, Ms. Quinn?" She looked at me, eyes trembling, searching for something in my face. I offered nothing but sincerity. Then she nodded. "Yes, Your Honor." The judge looked over the files again, then closed them. "Then there is no further reason to pursue separation. The children remain with their mother." Mara collapsed into my arms, sobbing, whispering thank you over and over. Later, outside on the courthouse steps, she finally asked, "Why did you say that? Why lie like that?" I looked her straight in the eyes. "Because I'm tired of watching good people lose to bad systems. And because, maybe I need you as much as you need me." She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. Her kids ran up and hugged my legs like they'd known all along. The reward, the dream, the new beginning. Weeks later, I took Mara and the kids to a small building on Birch Avenue, a place I'd secretly renovated behind the scenes. She squinted through the dusty window. "Grant, what is this?" I pulled a key from my pocket and placed it gently in her hand. "It's yours," I said. Inside, the lights flickered on to reveal fresh countertops, ovens, warm wooden shelves, and a hand-painted sign that read, "Mara's Hearth, where stories rise warm again." She covered her mouth, tears slipping down her face. "You built this for me?" "No," I said softly, "I built it because of you." Her kids ran inside, spinning around the empty dining room like it was Disneyland. Mara stepped in slowly, touching every counter as though she needed to make sure it wasn't an illusion. "Grant," she whispered, "I don't know how to repay you." "Just cook," I said. "Cook like the world needs it." The controversial ending. 1 year later, her restaurant became the heart of Cedar Heights. Lines every night. People drove hours for her food. She became the town's pride, the woman who rose from nothing and built something unforgettable. But here's where opinions still split the internet. Mara and I never publicly confirmed whether we stayed engaged, or whether that courtroom promise was just a necessary lie that turned into something complicated, tender, and undefined. Some say I manipulated the system. Others say I saved a family. Some say Mara should have done it alone. Others say nobody survives alone. But the truth? The truth is that some families aren't built the traditional way, they're built from broken pieces that finally found the right glue. Every night now, as her restaurant sign glows warm in the winter air, people ask the same question. Are Grant and Mara actually together? I always smile, and never answer. Some stories cook best when you let them simmer. Call to action, man, GOITRANLUAN. So now I'm asking you. What do you think? Was it right for me to bend the rules to protect a mother who was clearly doing everything she could? Should love, or loyalty, matter more than legal technicalities? And how many lives have been destroyed because society judged them before hearing their story? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. And if stories like this hit you the way they hit me, hit that like button and subscribe so we can keep shining light on the people the world forgets too easily. Stay kind, stay human, and never underestimate the power of showing up at the right moment.